Excuse me. Hi. I'm from the Temporal Credit Union. No need to wake up. We can do this in your sleep. That is how we have conducted business in the past, as you might or might not recall. Yes, just for a little while, so we can go through your balances. I scheduled this midnight meeting for us to help you out, but I do need you to devote some of your sleepless attention to me. No need to open your eyes. You can just remain horizontal and listen to my voice. This is for your own convenience, me coming to you, so you hardly have to do a thing. Did I scare you just now? Nonsense. I'm not the least bit scary. Just because I'm sitting on the edge of your bed in the middle of the night. When else would I show up? This is how we operate. No, don't be silly. I'm not your sleep paralysis demon. I met him at the door, in fact. Told him to wait in the hallway. I said you were mine for at least the next half an hour. So, feel free to thank me anytime. No, that guy was scary. All I need is a bit of your time, which we have provided you with anyway, most of it, and then you can go back to sleep. Let me just open your file. Yes, I believe you've dealt with some of my colleagues before, and now your account has been transferred to me. I've been going through your files, you see, and I'm a bit worried that some of my fellow clerks might have been a bit too generous with their lendings. Yes, afraid so. We do need to discuss your down payment plan tonight, and hopefully we can come to an agreement that satisfies us both. We need to go through everything you've borrowed so far to get a proper, updated overview. Your account with us goes back almost 25 years now. From your university days, yes. So let's start there. You first contacted us in your sleep because you were interested in the academic temporal supplement, which you were granted, and proceeded to use annually for the next 5 years. The ATS grants access to a regulated allotment of pre-examination temporal augmentation units during approved intervals preceding institutionally scheduled assessments. Yes, 48 extra hours to cram before each exam. And that increases every year for the duration of your degree by the looks of it. and you graduated late, so that's 1 extra year. I'm afraid this has accrued to quite a lot. The problem for you here is that the total volume of PETAU that are available within a given academic cycle is determined by the applicant's cognitive load declaration, or CLD, the institutional calendar irregularities, and the TCU's ongoing chronometric resource distribution schedule. PETAU conversions, carryovers, and fractionated allotments may be arranged through the Supplemental Time Request Interface, the STRI, provided, of course, that all forms are submitted in triplicate and time-stamped prior to educational engagement, which you do not seem to have done, so yes, that adds a couple of weeks. But we are not completely unreasonable. In fact, the utilization of ATS services acknowledges the possibility of minor discrepancies in perceived duration due to standard temporal variance factors, I believe, including but not limited to, let's see here, ambient exam stress, environmental oscillations, and incidental chronal flutter. Although the only course given in your application was procrastination, so you don't qualify for a reduction here. Sometimes there is such a thing as being too honest. But we got you there in the end, didn't we? You did eventually graduate. Anyway, that accrues to with almost 25 years of interest, about 3.5 months of borrowed time that you will need to pay back. A bit more, in fact. And then after university you were unemployed for a while. You had no lack of time then. No new lendings for a few years. Kind of a missed opportunity for paying back there with all that free time. I say free time. There's no such thing, of course. Time is never free. It's our most valuable resource, after all. And finally, a few years later, into the workforce you go. In your first office job, you suffered from severe hangovers after many a mandatory unpaid work-related social event. And that's when you signed up for our post-social recuperative extension package. The PSRE enables the customer to access a controlled issuance of IRIUs, or Immediate Recovery Interval Units, provided that this follows directly after employer-mandated communal engagements. Distributions of IRIUs is governed by the Corporate Social Fatigue Assessment. That's a different department from mine. They can be quite strict, and I do believe that their fees might be adjusted according to yes, their fees may be adjusted according to ambient noise exposure, conversational duration, and residual inter-office conviviality metrics. So utilization of PSRE services indicates acknowledgement of all associated timing variances as documented in the Recovery Duration Summary Log, the RDSL, which you were supposed to read in its entirety before signing this package. Did you do that? No, I didn't think so. It is a bit extensive. It's a lot to swallow for the average sleeper. Anyway, this is no longer a package that the Temporal Credit Union offers. No, new customers don't get the opportunity. There is a handful of old-timers still on it, yourself included, but it will not receive any new updates or changes, so there is very little I can do for you here. The terms are what they are. It adds another few months to your total time owed. If we close this agreement, so it will no longer be available to you in the future, we can transfer the units owed from the Post-Social Recuperative Extension package to a total down payment package. Yes, I think I could do that for you. It would be nice to compile all of your loans. It would make it more manageable. We could apply for that at least. Is that something you would be interested in? Good. We will try to make that happen then. Now there are a few things we can do to improve your chances of getting this approved. If I can only find it again. Here it is. You have participated in a boredom immersion weekend a couple of times. 3 times that I could find, but only 1 was completed. Yes, we do still run those. It's quite an extensive program, in fact. If you were to commit to one of our boredom compliance packages, 1 full week, but it will feel more like a month. And yes, once you sign the agreement, completion is mandatory. That would certainly go a long way in convincing the CSFA to support a total down payment package. But we can come back to that in a little bit. Give it some thought. Meanwhile, we have more to go through. We have lent you extra time to do your taxes most years. That's also another department the Tax Prep Temporal Allocation, the TPTA, yes. They're the ones who authorizes the loan holder to deploy administrative time extension units for the exclusive purpose of completing personal fiscal documentation. You always seem to start doing your taxes at the nick of time. Did you not learn anything from your university exams? Just how easy it is to get more time. I see. Well, your ATEUs do in fact function within a compliance time window, during which subjective processing duration may be expanded or subdivided in alignment with the annual chrono financial filing schedule. And you have kept to that window most of the time, except for one time where you noted down "dog ate my taxes." What you have to keep in mind is that all ATEU usage must be recorded via the Supplementary Ledger Adjustment interface, which we have done on your behalf, and it is therefore subject to a standard reconciliation under the Temporal Filing Accuracy Protocol. Engagement with the TFAP constitutes acceptance of any incidental temporal offsets arising during routine documentation. The dog incident, yes, but that one breach shouldn't have too much to say. We can make up for that elsewhere. Might cost an extra day or two of your life with interests. Alright, let's move on. Here's another big one. For the entirety of that awful telemarketing job that you clung on to for 8 months, you accrued, this is quite excessive, 385 hours that are not, as far as I have been able to find, not specified anywhere. Can you explain that to me? It's mostly late at night, Sunday night through Thursday night, most weeks. What are all of these extra hours? For what purpose did you need them? Revenge, bedtime, procrastination. Okay. Individual hours lent like this are rather expensive. They have a high interest rate, yes. That's another big increase in your total time owed. Yes, it's been quite a few years of interests and no down payments. Evenings and mornings. Don't we all wish they lasted longer? And you do have loans on your mornings as well. For the past 3 years, you've been on our Morning Grace extension plan, which gives you 5 more minutes in bed every morning. it runs until you unsubscribe, yes, but it was never meant for this sort of extended use. By now it does amount to quite a lot. You mortals have always had the strangest perception of time. Time does not simply pass, it tallies. More so than normal when it comes to the Morning Grace extension plan. But you already know this, I am sure. It was in the terms and conditions. Yes, fine. I'm more than willing to remind you of them. Let me just get it up on my screen. Yes, the Morning Grace extension is a how do I describe this? It's a sort of micro-temporal continuity augmentation service designed to provide you with a recurring allotment of non-consecutive pre-dawn deferment units, commonly referred to in client vernacular as 5 more minutes. Non-consecutive, yes, as in you can use them every day or just now and then until you run out. It's up to you. The MGE allows for the provisional postponement of an individual's mandated rise time through the issuance of DTRCs or Daily Temporal Relief Credits, and these are contingent upon satisfactory compliance with all pre-existing obligations as outlined in the Standard Chronometric Use Agreement, the SCUA. Yes, we do love our abbreviations. Now, the DTRC are different from our normal units of borrowed time, in that each of them grants the loan holder a daily maximum of 300 supplementary chronoseconds, although actual experience duration may vary according to circadian drift indices, personal entropy levels, and any outstanding liabilities associated with prior uses of union-managed postponement mechanisms like the Dawn Deferment Program, for example, or the Pillow Time Continuation Grant, or other such analog services. In the terms and conditions, the loan holder is told, in some uncertain terms, that the MGE is classified as a short-duration temporal accommodation and is not intended for use for more than 3 months consecutively. Breaks are recommended before further use, and we trust our loan holders to have the common sense to take these breaks regularly, and preferably more often than simply every 3 months. But we cannot leave you completely to your own devices, so consequently, any pattern of extended, sustained, habitual, or unconscious reliance on DTRCs past the initial 3 months triggers an automatic recalibration of interest index multipliers, IIMs, and prolonged usage results in a progressive increase in CTIs, that's compounded temporal interests, as well as additional chronal drag fees, and potentially reclassification of the loan holder's account to a DWS account. That's a dependent wakefulness status with all attendant surcharges. Oh yes, that happened to your account several years ago. Those 5 minutes in the morning have cost you dearly. We did inform you. We issued a letter delivered to under your pillow as per usual on April 1st, 2023. So, you were informed. You should also note that the MGE is classified as a recurring incremental loan product, so-called RILP, and it accrues CTI at variable rates set by us. These rates may fluctuate due to seasonal chronal irregularities, lunar surges, or the participants' demonstrated reluctance to exit bed in a timely fashion. Oh, there's no need to look so troubled. You may not be the easiest customer to help, but I will do what I can for you. It is in our interest as well as your own that you end up with a down payment plan that you feel is manageable. So, we have gone through the largest posts, the Academic Temporal Supplement, the Post-Social Recuperative Extension Package, the Revenge Bedtime Procrastination, the Administrative Time Extension Units, and the Morning Grace Extension, which were misused. But there are also a number of smaller one-time accruances. I counted 87 of those, but I see little point in going through them one by one, unless you object. I can list a few so you get a sense of them. In November 2017, you borrowed extra time to finish a work project that you procrastinated for weeks. And then, this is a good example. Over the last 5 years, there have been 12 individual occurrences of lending extra time to catch a train. There's an extra hour to clean before guests arrived back in 2019, and extra time to think of the perfect comeback while having an argument. All of these, and the ones I haven't listed, were granted through the IDN agreement. That's immediate deployment time, our so-called last-second loans. So, your final tally amounts to, with all interests and fees, 5 years, 3 months, 12 days, 8 hours, and 17 minutes of time owed. Now, when it comes to repaying this in full, there are 2 main ways we could go about it. There is the end-of-life temporal forfeit. Many younger loan holders lean towards this one. I suppose it all seems very distant to them, but it basically means that we remove the owed time from the end of your life, so you will expire a few years early. Interests will continue to accrue until this time, and when the time owed and the time left is identical, you will simply expire. The Temporal Credit Union discourages this solution for several reasons. We would generally advise against removing a large chunk at the end like this. It tends to create a sort of chronal cliff that is administratively unstable, and time collected in such a way tends to be unsuitable to lend back out to new customers. It also results in an unreasonably late repay of what the Temporal Credit Union is owed. Every shortened lifespan is also flagged as a premature closure, which lowers departmental performance indicators. You know, us bureaucrats hate when the charts dip. What I would suggest instead is this. Our Continuous Temporal Deduction Program, or CTDP, which consists of incremental repayment across the remainder of your lifespan. Small units deducted periodically according to the standard temporal amortization schedule, usually several times a day, although you could apply for having specific days be deduction-free. You may find it imperceptible at first, a few minutes here, an hour there, but over weeks, months, and years, the effects do accumulate. Spare moments vanish. Lunch breaks seem shorter. Afternoons slip past without notice. Evenings off feel impossibly brief. Time will seem to speed up. The difference will be most noticeable if compared to childhood, when your time were your own and you owed nothing. Eventually, you will feel how time accelerates. Each year will pass by a bit faster than the last. But the negative effects of time repayment can be somewhat tempered by the MDCP, which is why I would highly recommend that you sign up for it. Yes, the mandatory boredom compliance program. You will have to sign up for a whole week to start with, and yes, I do realize that that's all the PTO you will receive this year, but you really do have to use it on the MDCP. And after that, 1 weekend a month. For the foreseeable future, yes. The MDCP will train you in how to slow down your perception of the passing of time through practiced boredom. The later weekends you will have to practice what you've been taught on your own, but during the initial week you will queue up for something you do not want to buy. You will sit through lectures in languages you do not understand. You will wait for perpetually delayed flights at airports. You will sit on a bus stuck in traffic for an afternoon, and so on and so forth. Time will seem to stretch out and slow down in these kinds of situations, especially in waiting rooms and transitional spaces. Spaces that people just tend to travel through rather than live their lives in. This is, however, a skill and a practice that you have to keep up on a regular basis. That's why I want you to commit to 1 weekend a month after the mandatory training week. Yes, regular doses of boredom will make the repayment plan much more manageable. I did prepare the agreement. If you can just place your thumb right here, both agreements will be binding. Both your repayment plan and the MDCP. Your time debt will diminish steadily and quietly, and you remain, fortunately, alive to experience every deduction. Very good, thank you so much. And so we seem to have made a plan for the rest of your life. That must feel like such a relief. The pendulum will swing back and forth between boredom and lack of time. There is a rhythm to it, you see, a cadence you will learn to follow. Catch up, fall behind, catch up, fall behind. And in that rhythm, the Temporal Credit Union finds its balance. And you, if you are diligent, will remain compliant. It is time for me to leave. Your sleep paralysis demon seems a bit antsy, waiting at the door. I will leave you two to it. Our meeting and agreements will seem hazy to your waking self, like it was just something you dreamt, but you will soon come to understand the severity of what you have agreed to. Good night.